Everything that I do right is because of Don.
A big man, about 280 pounds, big gap, big handlebar mustache, and this big finger that would just point at people.
There is nothing half-ass about Don Watson.
Don Watson was my main man in the field. In 1980, I bought out my dad and my uncle, and shortly thereafter, I approached Don Watson, who was in business with Charlie Roof, to come back to Broadway, and he and Charlie accepted and became my partners in the revise or in the new Broadway in 1981.
Don always treated me like I was royalty. He always protected me.
He was not only a boss, as he started out, we became very good friends, and to this day are very good friends.
I told Big Don that there's another plumber out there in the city that's probably better than you. And he said, "What's his name?" And I said, "Mike Tobin." So within the week, he found out who Tobin was and offered him a job, and 2 weeks later he came to work for us.
And the person that I've really leaned on most is Mike to get me acclimated into the business, and I appreciate everything that he has done to get me up to speed.
My lasting memories of Mike Tobin started when I was about 7 years old, and my parents put me in the care of the plumbers up at Camp Canocti and the counselor Mike Tobin, who I never saw for 2 weeks, but hey, he was my counselor. He was supposed to be there. He might have been there in spirit, but he wasn't there in body.
Seb, the professor.
Seb has been probably my greatest asset when it's come to teaching me the little things on a plumbing job. He always has a smile on his face. There's never been one client that's ever said anything bad about Seb, and he loves to get dirty. He gets right in there and does the job. So Seb's been a great asset to the Broadway family for all the years he's been here.
Probably the most significant job he did for Fred and I was replacing a live sewer on a 6-story building in Foster City about a year ago. And between the hours of 6 o'clock and 6 o'clock, it was completely occupied by in excess of 200 people. And then at 6:30, we took over until 3 in the morning.
He loves what he does, and he's the best teacher we could have here at Broadway. Fortunately, he also teaches at the Union Hall, so there's a lot of young kids that are getting the advantage of being around Seb.
He keeps saying that this is his last job, and it's been going on for about 3-4 years. And every time I see him, I said, "You still look like dirt," because we're both about the same age. I put Jim to work, probably he was a 3rd, 4th period apprentice, and then later the families became very close.
You mentioned the name Jim Murray. Is that the same thing as the Buffalo? That Jim Murray? My lasting memories, I think we wear hats now, but I think Murray back in the day, he used to wear a Bud 24-can suitcase on his head. That was my lasting memories of Jim Murray, circa 1975 at Canocti. Jim, we love you. This place would not be the same without you.
And we miss you tonight. Dan's been with us off and on for 25 years. Every once in a while he gets mad at somebody and leaves for a while, and then he comes back.
He is one of the smartest and the best plumbers that I know. He's a great guy.
The Dannyisms, the sayings that he has for everyday normal life.
When talking about the weather, he would say things like, "I think there's going to be a little participation in the air tomorrow." When he was playing with his hand one day, and I said, "What's wrong with your hand, Danny?" He says, I think I got a case of that corporal punishment." It's been a pleasure to work with Mike, because he's also my best friend. So that's kind of gone hand in hand.
When we restarted Broadway, he was still on a service truck, and then finally about 5 years ago, we had him run a job for us, and now since then he's been running jobs. So I don't know if it was because he put on a few pounds, or he got a little older, or he got a little smarter, but now he's running some of our significant jobs.
BMC is better to have him, that's for sure.
Victor's sort of known as the jack of all trades when it comes to not only the computers, he's got his hands in what's around the property here, to insurance.
He's probably the longest guy that worked at Scott and then at Broadway.
I know that he's been doing a good job for our company, because if we don't hear any dramatic issues going on at our company from an IT perspective, that he's silently doing his job very well, and I know that to be the case.
It's just been that guy that's always been able to be relied on. So thank you very much, Victor.
And we brought him on board here to set up a sheet metal department that is doing very well for us. So it was really Larry's start here. We had no sheet metal at all when he came on board.
Larry came and spoke very passionately about what his goals were and what he thought for the direction of the sheet metal department. And I got to say, I couldn't be more impressed and pleased with the relationship that we've had in the last 6 or 7 years.
We didn't have a sheet metal department, and he's been here since the infant stages to where we are today, and so I want to thank him for all his efforts.
He's been very generous with his time and his knowledge, and it's been a great working relationship, and I'm really glad Larry came back to us. One of the best moves we did here at Broadway was when we had the opportunity to bring in a shop foreman. Really only considered a couple of people, and we definitely made the right decision with bringing on Farman.
He's done an outstanding job. Always got a smile on his face, do whatever you want. Lives close to my one sister, so when we ever need to have anything delivered there or repaired there, he's happy to do it. So thank you very much, Farman.
He is probably one of the biggest practical jokers we've got at Broadway. I kind of think of Farman as kind of like the silent assassin. He's not going to come out and say too much, or he's kind of behind the scenes, but he loves to run the practical jokes.
Sean Lewis, he's an Irishman, and he still lives in San Francisco. His mother still thinks he could be Jesus Christ, but
he could be the devil too.
But Sean always has a smile, a joke. He loves needling even the bosses that he works for, and his favorite thing is to get on a golf course with us and beat us, which he did the last time, and I'm going to make up for that the next time.
He's a great guy. He's a lot of fun. Mayor of the Sunset District. He literally knows everybody out there, and they know him. But he's a valuable member here at Broadway.
The first 3-4 months, payroll was being done by Fred's company, Green Again Landscaping, to the point that we outgrew that and we became aware that Nick was available. I talked to him and we put him to work, and he's been with us ever since. He's a vital asset to the firm, and I just love the guy.
He has an extremely high level and quality of work, and thank you very much for all your efforts, Nick.
He's always just willing to do whatever it takes, never complains. And when I said the word family, I know that he's always put his family at the top of his list. And so to Nick, thank you very much for all your hard-earned work. We handwrite out every sheet. I give her 40, 50 sheets. Those sheets come back to me within 24 hours, sometimes with a smile, more than times without a smile. But then I know she's got another 150 sheets from my dad. So she always gets them done, and they never have a mistake. I don't have to run a tab on them. They're so perfect. So thank you very much, Jan, for all your efforts.
I know that she works tirelessly to make sure that there are no issues, and I know there are no issues in what she puts together. And thank you, Jan, for surviving with my dad.
She knows my method, what I like in my sheets and so forth. So we're old school. She hates change, but she's been going with the change. When Broadway restarted, Al came on board and has run some of the more significant jobs.
Al Garcia, Stoic Al.
He's very quiet, but he's very organized, very detailed, which we needed.
I think maybe about 2 or 3 Christmas parties ago, we were sitting all together, and his wife Jennifer started to say that Al was into, I think, Motown and Funkadelic music, and I think we all kind of looked at each other and thought, Al Garcia, Motown and Funkadelic? So we all had a pretty good laugh on Al's expense that night as he got a little red in the face, but I think he had the last laugh when he bought all of us Funkadelic CDs and handed them out a couple of weeks later to some of the guys at that table.
Al has always done an outstanding job for us. Well, when you talk about company, you talk about family, and Roger's father and uncle worked for the previous Broadway before the merger with Scott Company, then worked at Scott Company, and then obviously Roger Jr. came on board, I would believe his apprenticeship at Scott and probably some of his journeymanship, and he's been with us from the beginning.
I recently said to Roger, I said, you know, your history, your family history might have gotten you a position here or given you an opportunity here, but it's been your work that has kept you here. He has really done a great job. He's our pipe fitting foreman out in the shop, and he's been great. I couldn't have asked for more.
I known Jim's family growing up, so obviously I knew when Justin was a baby and held him in my arms as a baby. And later on, you know, every father's wish is that their son that they've mentored and educated would become equal or if not better. And I have two sons that are better than their father. And Justin is a better plumber, better supervisor and foreman than his father. So Jim and Justin should be proud.
He is a fiery individual with a great work ethic.
To Justin, thank you very much for everything and for your great golf game. You're a pleasure to play golf with.
More golf, Justin, less running, more golf. If you love what you're doing, you continue what you're doing, and that's why I'm still here.
As you can see, you know, by the amount of people who are here tonight, they found a home here and stayed. They didn't go anywhere.
Thanks for everything that you do for BMC, and I genuinely appreciate it.
To the family of Broadway, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it, and enjoy your evening.